A very good early Sunday afternoon to you. Here in Manchester today, well, I don't actually know what's happened. We've had a few days where it's been glorious, absolutely glorious. Days where we just had endless blue skies, big yellow ball in sky, where we've had blue sky with fluffy little clouds and big yellow ball in sky. Raging temperatures over 70 degrees here in Manchester in May. But today, it's cold. I would say, autumnal, if nothing else. Grey skies, doesn't look like rain, quite windy, but so cold. Just been out messing around in the car with something. Got out of the car, and gee willikers, it was so cold. Anyway, not here to talk about the weather, although I do start off with the weather. It's a short one, I think, this today, and I'd like to get your feedback, thoughts, that kind of thing. The video is about, as you probably saw from the title, it's about coronavirus, COVID-19. But it's not about talking about whether it's as bad as people say it is, worse than people say it is. It's not about that at all. Basically, what it's about is the financial implications of COVID-19 on the general population and businesses, both big and small, and what impact perhaps it would have for us, the wristwatch collecting brethren around the world. We're all very aware that everyone and his dog is talking about going into a massive recession. They're even talking about it being worse than the Great Depression in the 20s and the 30s. They're talking about GDP being down by -7%, really at kind of the best scenario in some of the major Western civilizations. So, you know, America, Canada, Britain, Germany, all the big production people. We're going to have a huge, great hole in our finances, and that of course is, although it may well be very well received, I'm thankful for all the government help that's being put out in the world. Of course, that all comes out of the coffers, and if this goes on much longer, we've just had another 3 weeks added on, of course, to the lockdown, as it were. Doesn't really affect me because, as I've said to you before, I'm an at-risk category, so I'm actually locked down until the end of June anyway. And I do think for those of us who are not in an at-risk category, I think we'll probably find that this will not be over until at least the end of June. So what do I want to talk about? Well, it's kind of about the, as I said, the ramifications of what's going to happen. I think we're all very aware that what actually is going to happen, a lot of the small companies, 1- 2-man bands maybe, they will be forced to disappear because they're not getting any business in at all. Yes, all right, they might be getting these business grants, and potentially even if they've got a couple of employees who might have been furloughed on 80% of their guaranteed income. Small businesses can't ride this kind of storm for a long time. The big boys will be fine. All the major chains at Walmart in obviously the States and Canada, I think, and obviously Asda Walmart as it's known here, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, all the big supermarkets will be fine here because we still need to eat and we're still buying all the comestible stuff that we tend to buy on a daily basis. But as far as watches are concerned, it's still going to be the big boys who are going to survive this, of course. So it's going to all be the major names. But I'm thinking more about the retail end of it, backed up by the manufacturers, because what they'll perhaps want to do is put offers out there to intrigue us, the watch collecting fraternity, to actually go in and start shopping again, to get the cash flow going, the cash flow that they've missed out on during this part of the year. Now, the way I look at it, I mean, will this happen? Possibly not, but it possibly could, because if nothing changes when we're all allowed to go back to work and do what we want and go to the pub and all that kind of thing, when everybody's back at work, we will want to get back to some sense of normality as soon as we possibly can. So my idea, kind of, and my thought process behind this is that the ADs and also just general jewelers who are not ADs for a particular brand but sell a number of different, perhaps lower tier watches, will perhaps put on midsummer sales, maybe something that's not known. Of course, you know, we get the laughingly called Christmas January sales now, which arrive in kind of November, so people can benefit from prices in November coming up to Christmas buying gifts. But maybe to try to entice people through their doors, perhaps they will have a reopening or a midsummer sale. Now, if that's the case, then potentially there could be some decent offers on the basis that what they want to do, they will appreciate that people may well be short of money. But if you're on 80% of your salary on furlough, and you don't and can't go out and spend your income because all the cinemas are closed, all the clubs are closed, all the pubs are closed, you know, you can't actually go out and spend your money on the things that you perhaps would have spent your money on to enjoy yourself during normal opening hours, as it were. So it may well be, potentially, that you've got a few extra coins in your pocket, perhaps. Especially if you're kind of like me. If I was working and not registered disabled, of course, I mean, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't gamble, as you're well aware. But perhaps I would have had a few more bob in my pocket because I'm actually not going out, perhaps going to see movies I want to go and see, or take my partner out for a meal or whatever it is. So I think it might be a possibility, as distant and as strange as it might seem, that we may have a mid-summer returning to business sale to entice people in, certainly ADs perhaps, people who realise that they could have lost out on the sales that they would have had for people buying watches for them to go away on holiday. Perhaps we all like a new watch to take with us on holiday. And then just to get that foot flow back through the door of the shops and stores around the cities all around Manchester and everywhere around the UK and the US and Australia, etc. So I think that's a possibility that they may do that, which may, as I say, open up the possibility that we may be able to get hold of another little thing to put on our wrist that perhaps has been reduced in price to allow them to start the cash flow coming back in to their stores. So let me know what you think about this, if it's a good idea. If this was to happen, and if there's been anything on your checklist that you think, you know, when this gets better and things are back to normal, I might consider buying that. And if something's, like say, £600 or whatever, let's say you're looking at a nice Steinhardt. I have no idea what Steinhardts are because I've been away from the game for a long time. Well, you know, I don't know, let's say 600-700 quid. I mean, I could be barking at the completely wrong financial tree there. But if you're looking at something that's about £700, if they do a return to business midsummer sale, and all of a sudden that £700 watch is £500, us being away from normality for a while could well have benefited you. You know, financially, you may come away and thought, I've got that. Or maybe you've been saving, you know, and you've not quite got the 700 quid. But you've got 500 quid. You're saving towards what would have cost you 700 quid. And all of a sudden this sale arrives, and that 500 quid that you thought you were still £200 short or $200 short, you no longer are $200 or £200 short. You can go and buy what you want to buy. So I think this is a possibility that they will do. They're going to have to do something, anything, to start getting the foot flow back through their store doorways and get people back into the stores and buying, because we've been as normal as we're possibly allowed to be, of course, where we can go and buy food and all the necessities in life, and go to chemists and get all our medicines and that kind of, which is quite a lot for me. I spend a lot of time in chemists. So is this a goer? Do you think it might happen? Let me know what your feelings are. If you've got, if you've got any friends who are kind of in any form of retail trade, whether they own a little shop and they're kind of weathering the storm, but whether they're now thinking, well, what can I do to put a push behind my business when all this is over, when they actually take down the lockdown? Let me know what you think. That's it really for this. It was just something that popped into my head last night. Had a really bad night last night and couldn't sleep. So as tends to happen, as you know, when you can't sleep, your mind starts going. And this was just something that I thought, it may be. Who knows? Let's wait and see. But it could happen. I'm not saying it will, but it could. Let me know. See if you think it's a good idea. So that's it for this one, folks. I've got another couple coming up this week. One which is going to be an MS focused video, but it might be interesting because it's going to be based around transportation for people who are ill. And I'd be interested when I make that one to hear from other people in different countries what happens regarding vehicles and transport for people who are either very ill, who are dependent on other people, or they're kind of still relatively ambulant enough to take themselves around. So that one's coming. It will be an interesting one to watch, so look out for that one coming. I've got another watch video lined up for one after that, which is something I'm going to need your perhaps help, advice, interest in coming along. So there's a few bits on the way, so you may be able to look forward to another couple of videos this week, coming up to Friday. So that's it for now. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I look forward to hearing from you regarding this. Don't forget, drop all your comments down below, and if you're new here, my channel's a bit odd now, especially now. It's always been a bit of a hodgepodge. It's been a lot based around wristwatches, because people who watch this love our wristwatches. I also do lots of videos about things that interest me, that I think might interest other people, and now, again, if it's your first time here, I've recently been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So what I'm going to try to do is use a little bit of channel time to try to help people who might maybe struggling with MS, or people who maybe have just got a diagnosis and they're worried, or they're perhaps putting two and two together that MS diagnosis might be coming their way. Make all these people realise that perhaps they're not alone, and it's if we can all kind of talk about it and get together. So that's kind of the breakdown of what this channel is right now. It may change. I may at some point in the future launch a strictly multiple sclerosis based channel, and that's not to say that it's not welcome here. People have watched the multiple sclerosis videos I've made, and if the old guard or the new guard who just wants to talk about watches, you just ignore those videos. It's as simple as that. So that's it for now, folks. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you're all very well. I hope that you're not got anybody in your family who's struggling with this COVID-19 thing. So for now, that's it. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.